very sad. Remember the murder, the death of Elijah McClain, the young man who simply wanted to take care of animals and play the instrument. Beautiful soul. Well, the one person that we thought would have been held truly accountable for his death, the paramedic, was not, at least not to the tune of justice. Let me remind you of what happened that night.
The family's attorney says McClain was walking home after buying iced tea from a corner store when this call about a suspicious person was made to the Aurora PD in Colorado.
The person's hands up. I don't know. He looks sketchy. He might be a good person or a bad person.
3 officers responded to the call. McClain is seen walking on the sidewalk when officers approach him.
Stop.
One officer is heard telling McClain to stop. Things escalate when McClain allegedly attempted to grab an officer's gun. The officers then subdue him to the ground and place him in a carotid control hold, a move that restricts blood flow to the brain. McClain begs for relief, even uttering those eerily too familiar words. First responders arrive shortly after and administer ketamine, an anesthetic meant to rapidly tranquilize.
It's standard protocol for the paramedics to inject ketamine.
McClain went into cardiac arrest on the way to the hospital, where he stayed 5 days before ultimately being taken off life support. A coroner determined his cause of death undetermined.
Undetermined was the original conclusion. Put up the picture full mass. The mother of Elijah McClain spoke out about the sentencing of one of the Colorado paramedics who was tried and convicted in her 23-year-old son's death. The judge decided to sentence Peter Cichuniec to 5 years in prison, which, by the way, is the absolute bare minimum allowed under the law. He was convicted of criminally negligent homicide. He was in a position of public trust. So the paramedic and his family begged, cried to the judge in a desperate plea for mercy. The paramedic and fellow paramedic, Jeremy Cooper, were both found guilty of criminally negligent homicide last December for injecting McClain with a lethal dose of ketamine in 2019. He was also found guilty of second-degree assault because he administered drugs without consent. It led to the death of a human being. Before McClain's transport to the hospital, officers held an unconscious McClain down as Cooper gave him 500 milligrams of ketamine. Cichuniec, the senior paramedic at the scene, told authorities it was his decision to administer the drug. They never asked or consulted McClain about the dose. And he went into cardiac arrest and stopped breathing just a few minutes after receiving it. He died 6 days later. I want you to think about the extreme negligence of this. You don't say anything to the individual. You don't care if they have a pre-existing condition. You don't care if they may have adverse reaction to particular drugs and derivatives. See, this is the reason why you get consent. Because at least the human being that is in front of you may be able to let you know if what you are about to forcefully put in their body could kill them. You don't care enough to even ask the question, but you want us to believe that you simply made an error. Elijah's mother, her name is Sheneen McClain. Ms. McClain said in a statement to reporters, quote, minimum, the bare minimum, always. No, we deserve better. We deserve more because we are worth more. I'm not okay. I will never be. Sheneen McClain told KUSA in an interview, quote, everybody there that night, even the ones that did not get convicted for my son's murder, even the ones that walked away, even the ones that stood there and watched, they're all guilty and they're all scum, end quote. No matter who they want to call faulty, when it's their own actions that killed my son, they had an opportunity to save him. He was speaking. He was talking when they got there. It doesn't make any sense for them to be so disrespectful to my son's life. So the paramedic actually was facing up to 16 years in prison on the assault charge. Just the assault charge alone could have rendered a 16-year sentence. The 5-year sentence was the minimum the judge could have given under the sentencing guidelines, according to the Associated Press. He was also sentenced to 3 years probation. The paramedic, as well as his wife and 2 sons, pleaded with the judge to give him the minimum. And obviously the judge listened. The paramedic cried in court, told the judge he was begging for mercy. Quote, I know this won't sound fair because Miss McClain will never have an opportunity with Elijah, but I beg of you on this sentencing day that you give me the opportunity, Judge, to return to my family, to provide for them. Adams County Judge Mark Warner oversaw the sentencing. Previously, he'd refused to acquit officers on trial over the death of McClain. All right. Bare minimum. Yep. This is routine. We see it often. You don't get more innocent than one of the most beautiful souls on the planet Earth getting ice cream and going home. I mean, when you look at the life of the young Elijah McClain, you realize this was a person who was just too good, just good all around. And for a court not to be moved with the innocence, the lack of any fault of his own, to be killed by all of these adults who are being paid by the taxpayers, including his own mother, to kill her son. For you, Judge, not to provide an adequate sentence to show your outrage shows you are not outraged by what happened. Sharon, thoughts here.
Judge Warner didn't need to acquit these people because he knew that he had their fate in his hands and he was going to do exactly this, hardly give them any time, because he couldn't bear to sentence them appropriately because they look like him. And Elijah McClain still is representative of 3/5 of a person or less. It is that white privilege lesson, the crocodile tears in court, that a young white elementary school kid knows. All they have to do is run up to a teacher, point at a black body, and they will be believed, they will be credible, and that black body will be viewed as an other and as a criminal.
Well, the story continues to progress. Obviously, the mother, our hearts and prayers are with you, sister, okay?